The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
It's Championship Sunday in the NFL. Remember those days, Jet fans? Some of you don't even remember those days. It's been so long. But hey, the Jets are still making news. Aaron Glenn trying to find a replacement for Tanner Engstrand. We'll get to that, the latest on Wink Martindale, and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. The Buffalo Jet fan joins me. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Just got off the radio, did 4 hours with Mike Tannenbaum. We had Connor Rogers on. We had Rich Cimini on. And we had the man genius, Eric Mangini, on the show. So listen back to any of those interviews. I'll post some of them on the channel throughout the week. But if you're on social media, go on the ESPN New York X account. You'll see the link to each hour of the podcast. With that, let's say hello to our guest today. He's a man getting snowed in like we all are here in the New York City area. The Buffalo Jet fan joins us now. BJF, the snow down here is crazy. What's it like by you in Buffalo? My God.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see reports of like, wow, you're going to get like 8 to 12 inches or whatever. I'm like, that's light work, man. That's just a casual Tuesday up in Western New York. But yeah, typical Buffalo weather. And then we got honestly some surprising news to start this Jets offseason. I didn't see it going this way with the offensive staff.
Well, let's get right to that, right? We could talk about Wink Martindale, who had a second interview in the Jets facility yesterday, but this seemingly came out of nowhere, right? So Connor Hughes last night tweeted, Tanner Engstrand is not expected to call plays in 2026. We knew his role was changing. It seemed to be intimated that he would not be the play caller. Hughes wrote, while the Jets are still determining his role, a new play caller is expected to be added to the staff. And then the follow-up tweet was among the names I've heard linked to the Jets as they search for a veteran play caller to add to their coaching staff, Frank Reich. So what do you make of, one, Angstrand not being the play caller, and two, Frank Reich possibly being the new play caller?
So my guess is that the Jets wanted to add somebody like Frank Reich to the offensive staff and keep Angstrand as OC was probably their plan A. But like we learned last year when they tried to hire somebody to babysit Nate Hackett, nobody with any kind of resume is going to do that. Like they're going to want to call plays. So I think they're trying to split the difference and say, okay, we're going to offer you play calling. They're probably going to keep Angstrand as OC technically, so they don't have to do like a Rooney Rule hiring process and all that, circumvent that. And then they're going to probably have Frank Reich call plays. Now, I'm not going to I'm not going to go to bat for Tanner Engstrand as if he's the next Sean McVay. I didn't come away from the season feeling like he was holding the Jets back necessarily, but the offense wasn't good. I thought he did a good job early in the season getting some guys open, but the run game without Fields, like their run game was completely dependent on Fields. They couldn't really scheme up a run game, even though it was Tyrod Taylor in there. I thought some situational play calling was not the best. They were 32nd in the NFL in their the variance of personnel that they used, which was pretty low. So I honestly know people are comparing it to Mike LaFleur. I thought Mike LaFleur showed a little bit more because when randoms off the street came in that weren't named Zach Wilson, they would get like 400 yards immediately. But yeah, just didn't expect it. And now Frank Reich steps in, and look, it's similar to Wink, where he's had a good career in the league. He's been a play caller a bunch of seasons on offense, and 7 of them he had a top 10 scoring offense. Problem is, Jake, the recent history, just like Wink, is bad. In Indiana, In 2022, he had the 32nd scoring offense. Carolina 2023, 31st scoring offense. So he hasn't had a good offense as a play caller since COVID, same as Wink. And sometimes this league can pass you by kind of quickly. So Frank Reich is a solid add to any staff, as a veteran presence and a guy who, for a young quarterback who's cut his teeth as a quarterback and coaching quarterback, that's cool. Do I think that the Jets got like markedly better at offensive coordinator with, this current version of Frank Reich over a year or two, Tanner Engstrand? I'm not necessarily convinced, to be honest.
I think that's fair. And I put the tweet from Frankie from Flatbush on the screen so people could see some of the numbers of Frank Reich as a play caller. And again, people think of him with the Eagles, and he won that Super Bowl. He wasn't the play caller then. That was Doug Peterson. And then he goes to the Colts. He was supposed to have Andrew Luck, obviously. That fell apart. But it wasn't exactly, a smooth transition after that. Carson Wentz, who a big reason why, they went out and got Wentz was because of him and that relationship they had together in Philadelphia. It was a disaster at the end of his time in Indianapolis. And then he only got 6 games before he was fired in Carolina with Bryce Young. And they were averaging 16.3 points per game, which was 30th in the NFL. Again, he hasn't been in the NFL since 2023. How much of the game has passed him by? I was all about Frank Reich a couple of years ago being added to the staff in the role you outlined, right? Working with the quarterbacks, being a senior level offensive coach that could help a young guy like Tanner Engstrand, who I think did show some promise at times and certainly wasn't perfect, but it's tough to truly evaluate him when the quarterback situation was as bad as it was. I don't like the idea of Glenn being retained. He's replacing the defensive coordinator that we've known, and basically the entire defensive staff, minus Chris Harris, who, according to Albert Breer, is a rising star. And
yeah,
that guy stays. Everyone else is gone. And now you're going to replace Angstrand. They could say he's still the OC. That's fine. If he's not the play caller, he's not really what the offensive coordinator is. To me, it's just a bad look. Again, Aaron Glenn's replacing, essentially, if you count Angstrand as a replacement, 9 coaches after year one and both coordinators. None of that is normal for how an NFL franchise is supposed to be run.
Yeah, I think the offensive staff changes are what makes it a bit unusual, because once they fired Steve Wilkes, you kind of figured a lot of the defensive staff was going to be rebuilt by the new DCs. So I kind of saw those all as batch hires, like whatever it is, 6, 8 of them. But I think parting with both of your coordinators is a bit tough, because I think that the pro Glenn argument, which isn't crazy, it's like, hey man, they didn't really have a quarterback, and Fields, it didn't work out. It was a bad signing, but it's not like it was a second overall pick. They were always going to get a shot at QB in 2026, and that was going to decide their fate. That's what I kind of figured when they were hired. Like whatever they do at quarterback in the 2026 season, whether it's keep Fields or draft a guy or make a bigger swing like a Kyler Murray or whatever, that's going to decide their fate. Okay, and then they're tanking the back half of the season. They're playing Wojak Horseman or whatever in Buffalo. Okay, cool. So it's tough to evaluate that. But I think it's hard to square that logic with then why do Steve Wilkes and Tanner Engstrand get to be judged under equally as, difficult circumstances? I think that's a tough one to sell. Now, to be honest, do I think the Jets got worse by replacing Steve Wilkes with Wink Martindale and Tanner Engstrand with Frank Reich? Maybe not. Maybe it's about the same. I think I'd feel a little bit more optimistic if they just took some more risks. It's easier to say as a fan than as a coach, but if they just hired some random, like another Angstrand, and just tried to find another guy, like, okay, it didn't work out, we're going to try and poach another guy from a good staff who's a run game coordinator, and do the same thing with DC, like the guy Durante Jones, like hopefully he could be the next Brian Flores, take a shot there. I think I'd be a little bit more optimistic with a bigger swing than just getting guys that we know are probably going to be below average.
I completely agree with you. And, the thing is too, if you're moving on from Angstrand and you know that you're already going to have a new DC, and now you have to fill all these assistant coaches, how are you getting quality candidates to join you if you're Aaron Glenn when you made this many changes after a year, and the perception around the league is you were lucky to still have a job going into a second year? Like, I had Aaron Wilson on my show yesterday. He broke the story of all these firings on Friday night, and I asked him, hey, in your conversations with people around the league, like, what's the feeling on Glenn? And he said people are surprised that he still has a job, especially when there were 10 openings this year and coaches who did far more were let go than what we saw from Glenn. So I just don't know how attractive any of these jobs are. And Glenn has given you no indication he has any idea how to find good coaches because he touted all these guys. He said they were going to be a team all about development. And when you make this many swift changes after a year, I don't know how any Jet fan can feel confident that you're going to be able to get legitimate coaches that want these jobs in the first place.
Maybe they should have Chris Banjo be the OC and the DC in addition to special teams. That guy can coach. He needs a promotion. Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in for the team. It's hard to point in a direction where you feel like they could be a playoff team heading into next year. Just what they're, if you look at the schedule too, like how many games are they likely to have a coaching and or quarterback advantage? It's probably not many of them. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be a very attractive spot. And that's not new with Aaron Glenn. I mean, that's been a thing with Woody Johnson for a while, but obviously it hasn't really changed within the past year. If anything, it's probably been made a bit more difficult because, let's be honest, Frank Reich and Wink Martindale are taking what is their only chance to be back in the NFL. Like, that's what's happening here. I mean, Wink Martindale's agent, in conjunction with the Jets beat, was kind of shamelessly twerking to try and be the Jets coach. And that's not because he misses MetLife Stadium, right? That's because he was relegated to college and he had an uninspiring stint at Michigan. And this is his only chance to get one more crack at being in the show.
That's kind of how it feels, right? And look, I had Rich Samini on the radio show this morning, and I asked him about the perception of, hey, Wink is just another version of Steve Wilkes, and he pushed back on that. But they're not the same thing. Wink is better than Wilkes, but the process to get us Wink feels way too similar to what happened with Steve Wilkes. And if I'm Aaron Glenn and I'm going down with a young guy that is maybe the next guy before we know he's the guy. Like, get the guy early because you saw something and took a big swing on that guy. Like what happened with Banjo, who ended up being their best coach. He was 2 years removed from being a player, and now he's considered one of the best young coaches in the league as a special teams coordinator. That would have been the swing I would be trying to do. And then I'll help that guy out as a defensive guy who got this job in the first place because I had success as a DC in Detroit. That's what I would be doing. But it just feels like, oh, well, Wink's going to come here. He's back in the NFL. He's getting a paycheck. And Glenn's just going to defer the entire defense to Wink. And it's like, what exactly do you do as the head coach if that's your plan again?
Yeah, I think Wink is, if we're going to compare it to a former Jets DC, it's maybe a little bit more Greg Williams, where he's just going to live by the blitz, die by the blitz. And Wink, I think, collectively has a better DC resume than Wilkes, like in terms of the totality of it. You know, he did cook up some top 5 defenses in Baltimore, but again, it's been about 5 years in the last year. And with the Giants, it was pretty tough. And the league has kind of spoken on the demand for him. So yeah, uninspiring retreads. And I understand they were not going to maybe get the Jim Leonard at, you know, DC or the Grant Udinski at OC. They weren't going to get the top in demand guys, but I do agree with you that taking another dart throw on a young up and comer, I think would have been a little bit more inspiring than, you know, running it back with, hey man, if we bring back Rodgers and like Tyron Smith and Dalvin Cook and Mike Williams and Hassan Reddick, we'd have like the 2018 Super Bowl team lined up, man.
Would be unstoppable. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We're all snowed in. We're talking about the Jets. We got the games on later. If you want to win a signed Curtis Martin helmet, if you want to win a signed Joe Namath helmet, then enter the Asmaniac raffle. We'll do a jersey giveaway at the end of the show if we get at least 20 entries in the raffle. You pick the player you want the jersey in among these Jet legends, and we will send it to you. Should you win, gift the membership or send it in a super chat that qualifies. The Buffalo Jet fans hanging out with us for another 15 minutes. If you got a question for him in particular, make sure you write it in. Some super chats here. Dean writes in, the firing of 8 coaches within 1 year is more of a testament to Glenn's incompetence than the 3-14 record. BJF, what's your take on Dean's super chat?
It's hard to disagree with that. I guess if I were to steelman it as a positive, I think if we knew Glenn is staying no matter what, like if that's baked into it, then you'd probably want more changes than not. But yeah, it's tough because I think the biggest decisions that he can make would be quarterback, because he does have more personnel say than like Robert Saleh. I think that's been pretty obvious. Offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, those are the 3 most important things. And the first 3 swings was a strikeout in pretty uninspiring fashion. So I don't have a rebuttal to that. We just, I guess, hope that it can be better, but that's pretty much all we have. And at least I would say that they've shown that they won't throw their high picks in the trash. Like they took whatever Membu, Taylor, and AZ Thomas was a pretty normal like draft day 3 was bad again. So and free agency was pretty tough. But I'm not worried that they're going to waste these 4 picks unless they do something desperate at quarterback. They're probably going to draft 4 good players, and if they can improve, they'll have those talents in addition to the guys like Membu and Fashanu and Garrett. And the next regime will have 3 first-round picks. So that's, I guess, the cope version of the situation.
Doesn't it feel awful as a Jet fan that like our optimistic view is, yeah, if we suck, at least like the next coach will have a lot of resources, so maybe we can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I am glad that, like, the one thing I will say about Glenn and Muji, I am glad that they recognize what time it was at the trade deadline, because I think it would be not going to pretend that Sauce and Quinnen are bums because they're not on the Jets anymore, but I think the only like real a silver lining is the amount of resources that they have, because if they didn't have that, it would be a lot more glim for sure. So I'll give them credit for doing that.
I agree with you. Black Gypsy is in the Asmaniac raffle. For one, he's the first to gift today. Let's go. Thank you, Black Gypsy. Joe the Jet writes in, Aaron Glenn's going to be worse than Hugh Jackson. Well, Hugh Jackson, the fact that he even made it to a 3rd year before he was fired in season is utterly remarkable. He went 1-15 and 0-16 and kept his job going into that 2017 season. Like, it's just, or 2018 season. It's truly remarkable, man. He went again. He had 1 win through 2 years and went into the 3rd year. I don't think Glenn's surviving a potential 1-5, 1-6 start, BJF. So I don't think Glenn's going to get the opportunity to be worse than Hugh Jackson.
No, he's already not. I mean, he somehow won 3 games, so he's cleared that mark. I knew the stat that he went 1-31 or whatever. I didn't know that he made it into the 3rd year. Maybe the 4th year is when he was going to figure it out. They pulled the plug too soon there on Hugh Jackson. Yeah, not a good start, man. I think that the beginning of the season is so important for the Jets, and I felt that way heading into last year, where I'm like, that week 1 game against the Steelers.
Me too.
Where, it's funny, when the Jets when it was announced that they were switching offensive coordinators, one of my buddies texted me and he was like, I'm afraid the Xavier Gibson fumble set the team back another 10 years. And that's how it kind of felt. Like they're always that one. It was like that one play away where it's like, oh, here we go. We're the Jets again. Because I know when you had Brandon Tierney on, I thought he made a good point in that the Jets were ready to start the season. Like they can't, when the season opened, you were like, oh, like your training camp and your preseason, you must have done something decent, because they came ready to go. The year before they got blown out by San Francisco, they were not ready to start the season. And it felt like this team just is such a hard time overcoming adversity. Like once they got punched and then compounded that with the fumble in Miami and with Braylon Edwards, it's like, as a Jet fan, you're just always waiting for the play that's going to like F up the game or F up the season. And they got to get off to a good start to break that. They're probably going to be in Tennessee against Robert Saleh to open the season, I would imagine. So go get a win, man. Go get a win. We need it bad. You
could totally see the NFL put in the Jets against Saleh week 1. You're 100% spot on with that.
Yeah, with the D team from CBS, I'm sure.
It gives a little Spiro Ditas action. Oh, yeah. Nothing like it. Cashmere Black wants your take on potentially trading for Anthony Richardson from the Colts.
I mean, look, if it's a 7th round pick and they want to throw him in the mix, sure. In terms,
he's a worse field, is he not? Like,
yeah,
again, you trust Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff to develop Anthony Richardson?
No, and he had Shane Steichen, and Shane Steichen can coach. He's a good offensive mind. He's actually a guy that I think, if it doesn't work out in Indy, like if we're looking ahead to guys who could potentially be available, like I would take Shane Steichen. He's gone 500 with bad quarterbacks, so. No, I don't think Richardson is doing much. And also he's had trouble staying healthy. And there was a thing where he kind of pulled himself from the game, and that rubbed some of the veterans the wrong way. So it's hard to imagine him being any better on the Jets. So unless it's like he's QB3 and just a camp arm, I don't have any conviction he's worth much at this point.
Oh, I got some breaking Jet news from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, a bit of a follow-up to the Frank Reich report from SNY. Let me pull this up on the screen here, and we'll get the reaction in real time. This right here from Mike Garafolo. Let me get it up there. Here it is. He tweets, Jets head coach Aaron Glenn has spoken to multiple veteran offensive coaches about joining his staff. Sources say Tanner Engstrand remains, but if this is going to be a play calling / OC role, it will have to be a full Rooney Rule compliant search. So I guess I need clarification here. If they hire someone as the play caller who's not the OC, do you still have to go through the Rooney Rule? Like, you can't circumvent the Rooney Rule if you're designating the guy as the
How are they
play
going to
caller?
know? Right?
Yeah, how would you know? You could just say, oh, no, he's not our play caller, but wink, wink, he actually is. How would the NFL then legislate whether or not the Rooney Rule needs to be applied or not? So I need, I guess, a follow-up to this report. Does the Rooney Rule need to be followed up here? They hire Frank Reich, and everyone knows he's the play caller, but they don't actually say that's his role.
Right, because then they could say, "Oh, well, we changed our mind in training camp." Like, there's no way for them to know. But if you're the Jets, like, dude, just fire Tanner Engstrand. Like, seriously, if you don't think he could be the offensive coordinator, just fire him. Do a real search for OC, and then if you, I mean, you want to bring him back as pass game coordinator, like, it feels just a little lazy, man. Just fire the guy if you don't think he could be the OC. I mean, it's like they did with Nate Hackett when they had him like with his PlayStation controller unplugged, like still pressing buttons in the booth or whatever, like he was really a part of the team. Yeah, I think they just fire him if you don't think he's the guy.
Isn't it kind of ridiculous that Glenn's go-to in the face of adversity is two coaches in their mid-60s? Like, that's the plan. Like, he has no, I thought Aaron Glenn's the CEO coach, and he's under the wing of Sean Payton. He's under the wing of Dan Campbell, all the hype and all the stories about how he's been ready to be a coach. He paid his dues. He did it the right way. And these are his contexts around the league when he needs to figure it out to have a chance to survive. Wink Martindale, who the game is certainly, I could say, passed him by, in my opinion. And the same thing could be said for Frank Reich.
It's not super inspiring, and I don't know to what extent, like with the OC, like how much money or whatever is involved for what the. And I know everyone like runs towards, was it Woody? Look, Woody's a bad owner, so Woody gets blamed for Woody. It's Woody's fault with everything. Even if Glenn is bad, it's still Woody's fault. So we'll never know. But yeah, it's. I mean, there's a lot of openings around the league, but there's also a lot of coaches that were available. So we'll see what the entire staff shakes out to be. But if those are the two names calling plays on offense and defense, just not great, Bob, as the meme goes. Not great.
Not great indeed. How about this from Sam, who says, how much has AG's hostility and lack of game planning added to his hot seat? Well, I think with fans, the way he came in, peacocking, taking shots at previous coaching staffs, everything he said about Fields, everything he said about the type of team they were going to be, and just walking all of it back and how poor it went, how historically bad it went, I do think that's hurt his perception with the fans. And we know Woody hears that because he's definitely going to hear it and see it when there's no one at these games next year.
Yeah, I think if Glenn could redo that, maybe he would be a little bit more tactful. Now, at the end of the day, if you win games, you could say whatever you want. And if you lose games, anything you say will be held against you. So I don't know if it's the end of the world, but I think he could have had a little bit. I think he shortened his honeymoon. I think. And there was also I think a lot of Jet fans were fond of people like Joe Douglas and like Aaron Rodgers, where when Saleh took over, it was like Gase and there was nothing to hold on to. So it was a complete fresh start where there was some controversy because people were like, hey, Joe Douglas got these good first round picks. Hey, Rodgers is looking kind of washed, but he's definitely be better than whoever we probably get. Which, both of those things kind of age to be true. He's better than Fields. So I think those are contributing factors. And then I think every year that the playoff drought goes on, this job is just going to become harder and harder.
That's it.
Like, I mean, because if Glenn gets fired and they hire Matt Nagy, it's just going to every year it's going to be harder and harder unless they can pull a rabbit out of their hat and hire some. Because at least to me, man, if they did take a shot at some random offensive mind who once shook hands with Sean McVay and they're going to cross their fingers, he could be the guy. Like that would be better than but they're probably going to do a Matt Nagy or Brian. Look at what the Titans was down to. It was Saleh and Nagy. So that's probably where we'll be in a year if it doesn't work out. So not
unless you have the
first
pick. Unless you have the first pick and like Woody Johnson is like, hey, Mike Tomlin, full control of the franchise, pick your quarterback. If you got a path to get one of these top quarterbacks, and there are some, that's what's so frustrating, I think, too, BJF. There's some real pieces on this roster. So I know people act like it's like an expansion team. There's no way the Jets should ever have started 0-7 and looked as inept as they did when they had Sauce and Quinn and 8 of their 11 starters back. This offensive line, again, like people will say, oh, they're tanking at the end. And I'd push back that you shouldn't lose by 23 or more 5 straight games because it's literally never happened. But just judging Glenn and the team when they were, quote, trying to win those first 7 games, there were so many eye-opening, alarming things. It's just tough to forget about that and just think, growing pains, rookie mistakes. Now it's all going to be better in year 2.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Let me play devil's advocate. Do you think it's hard to know? because I was a tanker. I will not hide from that. I was like, I want the higher pick. But then you start to see how the sausage is made, and you're like, man, am I built for this? Like, am I built for what I have for the Brady Cook thing? So when they beat the Falcons, right, it felt like the narrative was still bad team. Shouldn't have started 0-7, not feeling great. But the narrative is like, you're kind of a normal run-of-the-mill bad Jets team, and let's see how next year goes. And then the Brady Cook, Wojak Horseman of it all happens. So do you think if the Jets continue to play Tyrod and didn't go like full tank and just kind of middled out and fizzled out the season as they were on pace to do you think your perception of them would be different, or is it really just the 0-7 start that is in the back of your mind?
The 0-7 start is the biggest thing for me because the way it looked, it was not normal. All right. And I covered David Culley in Houston, and Glenn was as bad as Culley was that year. So I have very unique perspective on one and done coaches and what that actually looks like. And then to your point, I guess if they played Tyrod and he magically was healthy, I still don't think they would have won any of the games down the stretch. They're definitely not getting blown out as much, but it was still bad with Tyrod. And just some of the things that are happening, like too many men on the field on offense, right? The no interceptions over a full year. The way they quit, the way the head coach couldn't answer the question about the positives from the year. So he results by pointing out 0 field goals being blocked. There's not the fact that he never could talk in specifics about X's and O's and personnel moves and their plan. Like he says they have a plan, but he never actually tells you anything about it. And then you listen to other coaches around the league and how nuanced they could speak about things. You don't get any sense that Aaron Glenn actually knows what he's doing. And that's my biggest fear. And we saw it when they were trying to win at 0-7. And really, they started 0-7. They had 3 wins against backup quarterbacks. And then they finished the year losing in historic fashion 5 straight games. Like, it's really tough to get up from that.
Other than that, it was a pretty good season, though.
Yeah. Magical year. Oh, man. I got a few minutes left with you. Let me get to this huge super chat here from AbLab, who's a huge supporter of the channel. And we appreciate this $50 super chat. That means he's in our raffle for 10. Let's go. Give him a little Aaron Glenn, Woody Johnson themed hug.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Glenn does have great hugs, though. I will give him that. I will not criticize him for the hugging. He writes in, gang, AG and Muji were allowed to trade 2 All-Pros for assets for the next 2 years. No way these 2 will be fired. They'll be here to design the team in 26 and 27. Accept it and deal with it. Love you guys. Don't let go of the rope. And don't be ageist, I guess he's saying, in regards to Wink and in regards to Frank Reich. Here's the thing, though, AbLab. I think that's their initial plan when they made those deals. But then you got reports at the end of the year that Woody Johnson was pissed. And he's pissed because they weren't just losing normally. They were losing in historic fashion and being embarrassed. And you have all you have the dysfunction of the Jets. That's the perception. You have the Giants hiring Harbaugh. That's going to make Woody stew if they're good next year and they turn it around and they get all the positive attention. So while I think the intention of the trades was, we got this plan, Woody's going to let him see it through. If they don't show major improvement in 2026, maybe Muji could stick around if they have a good draft or whatnot. But I don't think Glenn's going to be here for those 3 ones in 2027. So just because they were allowed to trade Sauce and Quinn, and that doesn't mean Aaron Glenn's guaranteed to get the chance to use those picks in 2027.
Yeah, I think that well, first of all, with Woody Johnson, what his plan is now is not. Look, was Woody Johnson's plan before the 2024 season, if we start 2-3, I'm firing Saleh? Probably not.
No.
Right? So it could change at any minute. I won't try to get into his head too much. But one thing I don't think that I think Muji and Glenn are sinking and swimming together. But yeah, if they're like, I don't know, man, dude, if they go 3-14 and in their first 2 years they win 7 games together, it's hard to imagine them not getting fired. So you have to show substantial improvement, and it's not a playoff mandate. I don't even know if you could attach a win total to it, but I think if they have a season like the Jets had in 2022, where it was like, oh, like, holy crap, this roster is markedly improved. You had some, I don't want to call them signature wins for a 7-win team, but you went into Green Bay and you beat the Packers with Rodgers, and you beat Josh Allen at home, and you went, and I think that year maybe they beat Mike Vrabel and the Titans. I can't remember, but there was some games where it was like, oh, okay. And if you do that and you win 7 games, like they probably will buy themselves another year of security, but I don't think it's guaranteed at this moment. I think that's a little bit of a reach.
Well, here's the thing too, BGF. Like Saleh at one point in his second year, the Jets were 6-3 and 7-4, and then it fell apart. But like we saw real improvement year over year. given the schedule next year, and look, you never know with the schedule, but like, where are these wins coming from? Like, is Aaron Glenn ever going to have a start where he's 3 games above 500? Like, again, if he starts 1-5, I think he's getting fired in season.
Yeah, it could always change, but it's tough, especially just looking at the quarterback matchups, and they play a lot of really good coaches. Even and like at the road slate, like the divisional games on the road, it's hard to imagine them beating the Pats or the Bills on the road at all. Those feel like losses already. And then like Detroit and Chicago, what's the over and under is probably going to be around like 4.5 to 5.5 wins.
It will probably be the lowest in the NFL going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, them or Cleveland. It'll be bottom 3, for sure, probably.
It's brutal. One more for you. This is from James, who says, I follow Steelers channels as well, and Steelers fans are complaining they have McCarthy. I'd love to have McCarthy over Glenn any day. Yeah, man. I mean, Mike McCarthy only won 1 Super Bowl. He's only had 10 win seasons or whatever it is, the stat he has. I mean, again, a different universe for the Steelers and the Jets. I mean, we're dying for the opportunity to have a coach like Tomlin who could go 10-7 every year and not win a playoff game. And the Jets haven't won more than 7 games in a decade.
Yeah, it seemed. Well, I know McCarthy was available when they hired Gase as well, so it seems like that's never been a fit either from him not wanting to come here or the Jets not wanting to hire him. Also, Woody Johnson just loves himself a first-time head coach. He just always seems to go that way. I think the last guy they hired with coaching experience was Adam Gase, and then I don't even remember. Yeah, that wasn't even Woody. So yeah, it goes back to, I think, wasn't even Herm. That was his first gig as a head coach as well, and so was Bowles. So
he had Al Groh in 2000 when he first bought the team. Parcells helped him with that. The same thing with Herm. Mangini, who I had on the radio today, Jeff fans. Great to catch up with the man genius for a radio spot. I mean, it's all been first-time head coaches besides Adam Gase, who we didn't even hire.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And a guy like Mike McCarthy, look, and who knows, he's older, so sometimes you become a dinosaur, but he did have the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL in 2023, and Dak Prescott was looking like an MVP, and Mike Vrabel's year off seemed to help him, and the Cowboys were like a normal 7-win team with Cooper Rush or whatever. So I think as fans, we can go a little bit too far of like a known commodity who's good, like always thinking like we can do better with somebody random. Now I support it if the known is Wink and Reich, who haven't been good in a minute, but yeah, I would you could do worse than McCarthy or even Tomlin. People are like, oh well, he always loses in the first round. It's like, dude, the guy is quarterback proof, man. That even like people like Harbaugh and McDermott, they underachieve with MVP quarterbacks. Like since Big Ben retired, I know he got a decent season out of Rodgers, but between that, he went 14-10 with Kenny Pickett. He went 4-2 with Fields. So yeah, man, Tomlin is a guy who can get you off the mat. Like you can't throw punches until you're off the mat, and Tomlin would be a guy who could definitely do that. So Mike Tomlin can coach my team any day, that's for sure.
Any day, respectability. You want to not be a joke. People are like, oh, Arch Manning will never come to the Jets. The Mannings won't let it. Well, if you have Mike Tomlin as your coach, guess who's going to be your quarterback if you want him, if you can get him? It'd be Arch Manning, right? So like that was my big thing a year ago with like hiring someone proven who's done the job, and they didn't even interview Mike McCarthy a year ago. So go figure. But that's the state of the Jets. BJF, you're the man. Appreciate you hopping on. I know you're dealing with some crazy snow by you, so glad that you're doing all right up there, and we'll get you on again soon.
All right, take care, guys. Thanks.
The Buffalo Jet fan with us there. I'm going to stay on for the rest. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. We got the games today, baby. Pats, Broncos. Let's go Denver. This line continues to move. I bet it at 5.5, so I'm locked into Denver getting 5.5. It's down to 3.5. Again, here was my logic when that spread was 5.5. Jared Stidham, I don't love him, but I don't think he's incompetent. CJ Stroud last week played as bad as you could possibly play, and that was a game into the fourth quarter. And the Texans defense, yes, it's great. It's better than Denver. But you know what? Denver's at home today, and they do have a really good defense. Top 3 in scoring defense. They have a Hall of Fame coach in Sean Payton. I think it could be a real game. Now, at 3.5, I don't love it as much, but at 5.5, I did. So I locked it in earlier this week on FanDuel. The second game today, I go back and forth. I think better coach, better quarterback. That's the Rams. But Seattle's at home, and I think Seattle's got the better roster, the better defense. But I'm leaning with the Rams. So I'm going to take the Rams in the second game, although I am certainly rooting for Sam Darnold to get to his first ever Super Bowl today with the Seahawks. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Cashmere Black says they should try and get Raheem Morris. I think reading through the tea leaves, it sounds like Raheem Morris was one of the top DC coordinators that turned the Jets down. I think the Jets tried and he said no because he does have a relationship with Glenn. Al Gonzalez says this all sounds like Glenn will not be allowed to make draft picks, and that's a good thing. Well, he's going to be able to make the draft picks this year. He's not getting fired. Right? You have the second pick in the draft. You have the 16th pick in the draft. You have pick 33, which I think ultimately the Jets used to trade. They trade out. And I had pick 44. So we will see. 11576 writes in, I think what makes the Jet job unattractive is podcasters bitter, not giving guys fair chances, and all bitter because of past. Right. This is a brilliant take by you. I don't think you could have said this any better. And I'm just kidding. Terrible take. See you later.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Tom Roseman is in the Asmaniac raffle for one. Appreciate your time. You gifted a membership to the community. Job well done. Frankie writes in, when was the last time a coach got to keep his job after year one and rehire a whole new staff? Only the Jets. Do we get credible hires? Glenn is bad. Someone needs to do the research. In any head coach who after their first year won the amount of games Glenn won, right? So find any head coach who won fewer than 4 games in their first year. If they were ever allowed to make this many coaching staff changes going into year 2. Because typically when you're making this many changes, you're also one of the changes the franchise is making. They bring in a brand new head coach. So that's a good Michael Nania, research article that we'll see, I'm sure, on JetX at some point. Because again, it is very unusual to replace 7 assistant coaches, a DC, and essentially the OC. Because if Tanner's not calling the plays, he's not the offensive coordinator. AbLab says, so what year do you think we make the playoffs? 28? I think they could make the playoffs in 2027. It could be done. We've seen this with the Commanders. We've seen this with Houston most recently. Here's how the Jets would have to do it in my mind. Quarterback, coach, year 1 together, a la Rex and Sanchez. If you want to go back to that, Jet fans, they could be in the playoffs in 2027. Is it likely? I mean, no, because it's been 15 years of a playoff drought. But again, if you got, let's say, Kevin O'Connell as your coach and Julian Sayin or Arch Manning or whoever emerges and you're in play to get them, I think it could be done. We've seen this. We've seen this a lot in recent NFL years too. So I don't think it's as hopeless as some think, because I do think this will be an attractive job a year from now if the Jets are as bad as, unfortunately, I think they're going to be this year. By the way, big thank you to everyone who got a March for Arch shirt. We also added the Tank for Arch tank tops in the store. If you buy one during the show, I will give you 5 raffle tickets in our daily raffle coming up. And I want to shout out someone who did buy a shirt during the show. Joey Kilmartin bought a Tank for Arch shirt. So appreciate you, Joey. We got you in our raffle. Bino with a super chat. Wink, now Reich. This is now the land of misfits, and the fact that no one sees a problem with any of this is not normal and a total clown show. Again, Woody Johnson is allowing Aaron Glenn to make these moves. Starts with the owner. That's where it all starts. Let's get to your calls now, shall we? First up today is a man who we call the Wagon. It's Chuck Wagon.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
Wow, 2 shows on the weekend. Also, I'm glad to see you got your flight changed so you didn't have to try to go through this storm. So,
well, I'm still going through it, Chuck Wagon. It's just going to be at a later time tomorrow than what it was originally scheduled. Tomorrow's gonna be rough. I'm supposed to fly out around noon tomorrow, and
Wow.
I'm not banking on that flight being on time, so we'll see.
Well, that's yeah. Well, good luck. Hoping for your safety, and hopefully you can get there safe and sound. I really don't know much about Reich. He may be a slightly better choice than Wink would be for DC. Do you think Reich is, slightly better?
I think it's about the same, to be honest. Kind of similar. Both guys trying to get back into the league. Reich was not great as a play caller his last few years. Then he got fired so quickly. It's tough to really judge anything that happened in Carolina. Wink's been away from the NFL for 2 years. His last year with the Giants wasn't good, right? I question the personality fit of him and Aaron Glenn in particular. I think if they added Frank Reich as like a quarterback coach or that senior level assistant they tried to add with Nate Hackett a year ago, it'd make some sense. But replacing Angstrand for Frank Reich, that doesn't feel like an upgrade to me at all.
I'm just, yeah. And I think you said this earlier in this week that a lot of these potential candidates are just trying to stay away. And it's people who are maybe has-beens and those who were pretty much, pushed out of the league, trying to get back in it, trying to think, hey, if I can turn around the Jets, then I'm going to be set for a long time going forward. I don't know, man. Gotta stay optimistic, but it's not looking too good.
Yeah, it's not looking good, Chuck. But hey, 2027 is right around the corner.
Yep, 1 year away.
Hang in there, Chuck Wagon.
You too.
Hang in
I
there.
hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Oh, yeah. More of your calls.
They call me Alan and everybody hates me cause I'm a super douchebag.
Can you believe that jersey that I'm wearing? That guy might go to the Super Bowl. Unbelievable. Couple of comments. If you're Tanner Engstrand, you have to take the buyout and leave the organization. There's no reason to come and stay here. He looks like a fool if he stays and becomes like the understudy of the OC. Why would he stay?
Well, what if he doesn't have another job lined up?
Because, again, he will find another. I would rather be an understudy somewhere else than be an understudy with this team. Okay.
You can't just assume he has a job, though. That's why he would stay.
I do not think.
I don't know what he's getting paid, but I'd imagine his contract is going to pay him more as an OC, even if he's not the play caller, than going somewhere else. Like I don't think you just leave. You don't even know if there's a buyout being offered. The Jets.
But you don't think it's part of
it.
You don't think it's part of his contract originally that he was given duties to be a play caller, and now they're completely changing the.
But that's not in a contract, right? Like
I'm not surprised if that's part of the contract. Absolutely.
I don't think in a contract you could say you're the unquestioned play, because we've seen offensive coordinators lose the play calling responsibility a lot. Like Nate Hackett lost the offensive coordinator responsibility for Todd Downing.
I doubt he remains. I think when a new OC comes in, I think he will leave.
Well, that's a different conversation. Is there a chance that he leaves? Sure, I could see that, but I don't think we could just say, oh, he's just leave. Like he might not, one, have the opportunity to leave, and two, he might not want to if it's a money thing. Again, this guy was coaching in the XFL not that long ago.
I doubt he stays. Something I mentioned before, I'm still shocked, even though I shouldn't be shocked. I'm shocked that Woody has been completely radio silent throughout this whole ordeal. I really am. Because this is a guy who's been vocal so often, and he has said nothing, like nothing. And he knows if reporters get in his face, they're going to grill him. But the idea that he has said nothing about what's going on in the laughing stock over the last couple of weeks with Glenn is shocking. I don't understand it, that he has said nothing.
I mean, he hasn't been available for a presser at the end of the year. He didn't do the usual interview he gives to like Brian Costello of the Post. Like going into the last week, he's done that the last couple of years. So, I mean, look, he's letting Glenn run the show right now, and the Jets are looked at like an absolute laughingstock with this coordinator debacle, 7 assistants being fired. Like it's all bad right now.
You said that the job will be somewhat attractive to a coach in 2027 if they fire him. And I think it'll be attractive. I do worry that he will absolutely try to win now and draft the Simpson at 16 and try to sell to the owner that we're drafting Simpson with the thought of him playing in 2027. Even if we finish 5-12 in 2026, they're going to keep the job. That's the biggest worry that I have in retaining this coach. This coach has that much power right now that he could do whatever he wants, whether it's free agency or in the draft, and basically sell Woody a bill of goods that he will be here in 2027, even if they're 5-12. Just the thought that they have a quarterback in waiting in 2027 for Simpson. That's why I hope they don't draft a quarterback in the first round. But now with all the pressure on Glenn, I totally believe that Simpson, if he's available at 16, will be a Jet. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to take him at 16, but it's early. We'll see. They're going to take a quarterback at some point, though. They're going to have to try and sell Woody on someone in the pipeline that's playing. But I don't know, if they're as awful as what I think you and I think they're going to be, he's not surviving this. He won't. And the job will be attractive for someone else with the 3-1s in 2027, and they'll have $100 million in cap space.
As far as the coordinators are concerned, I don't know why would anybody with hopes of ascending in the coaching ranks take one of these jobs?
I mean, I would
Nagy,
like
a Nagy. Why would Nagy take this job as he was one of the finalists for the Tennessee head coaching job? Why would he take this job? And why would Glenn offer him the job, knowing that in the back of his mind, Nagy might be gunning for his job? That's the problem. I don't think they're going to get.
Well, it's not a problem if you win, though. That's the point. Glenn's got to win games to save his job. If he thinks Matt Nagy, for example, could help him, and you got to be confident in your ability as a coach that you're going to turn it around in year 2.
I think Glenn has such a big ego right now. I think he's going to worry about his own safety rather than trying to bring in a guy like a Leonard or a guy like a Nagy who has head coaching aspirations. I just don't see it's going to work. That's why I think a guy like Reich and a guy like Wink makes sense, because I don't think those guys would challenge him for their head coaching jobs.
Well, I don't think Matt Nagy would take this job either. And also,
hold on. Matt Nagy wouldn't take this job if he was offered. Absolutely, he would take it.
I don't think he would.
Well, hold on. He was offered
to be the OC.
No, I'm talking about at the OC. I don't think he would take the job now.
That's what I'm saying. I thought you were talking about being an offensive coordinator.
No, but I'm talking about, I don't think Glenn would hire him, because I think if he hired him, I think Nagy would have thoughts in the back of his mind. I'm going to take the OC job with thoughts, knowing that Glenn might be on the hot seat. I will take over him next year.
I don't think that's why he wouldn't take the job. I don't think he would take the job because he is better than taking the OC job for the Jets. He's been a head coaching candidate. Like he doesn't need to take the OC job for a lame duck head coach. He would turn the Jets down.
He might. I would not be surprised if he was a candidate available. I would not give him the job, and I don't think he would take the job. The name I heard yesterday was Joe Judge as another name.
That was fake. You got Ballsack Sports. Congratulations.
I also heard it from another source besides Ballsack Sports, but
they didn't even tweet it. I was joking. The guy that tweeted it is a known Jets Twitter troll.
It wasn't him. It was somebody else. It was
Joe Judge will not be the OC of the Jets.
I don't think he will.
God bless.
I have no idea who the OC is going to be, and I think Wink's going to be the DC, and it will be the same situation as last year. It's going to be the same thing. They're going to fail, and that's the bottom line. They're going to fail.
Dylan's laughing at you. Alan got by the Joe Judge news.
I got because I had 3 sources. It wasn't that one source. It was somebody.
Oh, you're a reporter now.
I know reporters. Yes, I do.
So you were talking to them about Joe Judge coaching the Jets. That's how you were spending your Saturday?
I had mentioned Joe Judge as a name because I had heard Joe Judge as a name.
So you're talking to Jets reporters?
Not Jet reporters. I know other reporters. I don't talk to Jet
Ole Miss reporters?
I don't talk to Ole Miss reporters. I know he's there.
So first it was 2, now 3. How many of these sources do you have, Alan?
I have a couple of sources in leagues. Yes, I do.
Wow. Dylan says you're just blabbering. He's not buying it.
I'm not blabbering, Dylan. And I congratulate Arthur Smith also for being the OC at Ohio State. It's a great opportunity for him as well. Just leaving it at that.
Piano guy says you're getting tangled in your web of lies.
I don't know what Web of Lies is.
I think you're too prideful to admit that you got fooled by a fake story.
I did not get
Joe
fooled
Judge
by
being
this.
the OC.
That is a name I've heard beyond this one report. I've heard it from other
To be the OC of the Jets.
I have heard it from other reports, yes.
Okay.
It's not just this one guy. No, I've heard other reports.
This is like when you tell people growing up, oh, my girlfriend goes to the other school. Kind of sounds like what you got going on here, Alan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure, Jake. And
Alan,
good luck to the Patriots today. Have a good one.
The fact that you're rooting for the Patriots, you are such a fraud. And anyone who defends Alan, you're a fool.
They call me Alan and everybody hates me cause I'm a super douchebag.
Again, Alan was lying through his teeth there. There's no other source. Not one person was reporting Joe Judge as the Jets OC. That was a fake tweet that went viral yesterday, much like the funny, Richard Dick Johnson tweets I've been showing on the show, because that guy has made so many people think there's certain things with the Jets happening, like, oh, they're interested in Patrick Mahomes. Or Aaron Glenn, he's stepping down because it's just too hard for him to find a DC. That went viral too. Dylan says Alan's source is Facebook. Beast says Alan has the brain of a pissant. Black Gypsy says this is like when Alan worked for the NFL. Nick Shine. Alan has told more lies than we have inches of snow in New Jersey during this call. Strong takes all around. Al writes in, sign Trubisky. Thoughts? He could be one of the options. Can he bring McDermott with him as the head coach? Bino says Reich fired 2 times within 12 months. Now you know. He's trying to get back into the league. Get one last paycheck before cashing out. Again, I had it in my notes here because I talked about this on radio this morning. Frank Reich is 64. Wink Martindale is 62. And the whole league is getting young and hiring innovators and up-and-coming guys. Aaron Glenn's going to guys whose best days are clearly behind them. Kelly says, just one day in my lifetime. That's all I got. Love your content, Jake. Be safe traveling through the storm. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you being tuned into the show. Hopefully one day we Jet fans, we get happiness. We will be live from the Senior Bowl this upcoming week, assuming I can make it out there tomorrow. We'll have some guests joining us, some of the prospects. We'll have great interviews with some of the draft analysts on site there. Should be a fun week of content. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and be ready for that. More of your calls coming up. Super chat from our guy, Lou B. I wish I was on my way to MetLife. This is perfect weather for a home playoff game. Any chance of getting Jim Leonard? Any ideas for OCs? Who do you want? I would just keep Angstrand among the options. Unless you're telling me you're getting Cliff Kingsbury, who is a clear upgrade. I'm just going to keep Angstrand. Give him another year to grow into the role of Glenn sticking around. What's the point? I don't think Frank Reich is an upgrade. I wouldn't bring him in. If you're telling me he's being added as like the QB coach, then that makes sense. As far as Jim Leonard, look, the fact that the Packers hired Jonathan Gannon, I think is a good sign. But the Giants still have an opening for a DC, and Leonard's been connected to that job. And I hate to say this, I think Jim Leonard would stay in Denver before he'd be the DC of the Jets. Why would Jim Leonard take the Jet DC job when Aaron Glenn could be one and done? Or not one and done, but he could be done after this year. If I'm Jim Leonard, stay in Denver one more year. You'll get a DC job a year from now. He's interviewed in so many spots. Eventually, he's going to get a gig. I'd be surprised if he took the Jet job. If Glenn gets Jim Leonard to be his DC, that'd be an awesome move and the first positive thing I could say about Aaron Glenn in a very long time, and I'd be very happy with that. I just don't see it. Max says the Jets should have fired Aaron Glenn and hired Mike Tomlin, but Woody Johnson loves Aaron Glenn so much. I don't think Tomlin's coaching anyone this year, but a year from now, that's the guy I would seriously make a run at. Provide organization stability. AbLab says, doesn't Tomlin live in Jersey? Let's go on a stakeout. He has a house on the east end of Long Island, and we have our best people on this. The 33rd team couldn't get it done with Aaron Glenn. But the 69th team is here, and they're ready.
Look, we got Tomlinson. He ain't getting out of here. Get comfortable, pal, because as soon as Woody wakes up, he's going to make you a rich man.
Everyone wants to join the 69th team, including Lou B. Let's get to our guy, Lou B, who's on the line. Hello, Lou. What story are you going to say this week that's going to be wildly inappropriate?
I want to be on the 69 team. Let me tell you why. Number one, I know every inch of Long Island, Jake. There's not a street you could say. I performed 69 in Long Island dozens of times, obviously. I own a black van.
What?
Calm your freaky down.
I own a black van for abductions. I know what Starbucks that Tomlin goes to. I need to be I just wanted to be considered for the 69 team.
I mean, everyone wants to be a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who is part of the 69 team is on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say hello to this man.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's probably smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's Neil.
Shake my brother.
Hello, Neil.
Look at that baby. That's my new Sunday football cigar.
What is that called? A Churchill, right?
No, this is a Longsdale. This baby.
Longsdale.
This is a farm rolled cigar I got down in Florida. I have a new connection down there. Amazing. They're wrapped in Spanish newspaper. They are absolutely incredible, and I'll be smoking these on Sundays. This makes a real nice statement here. This is a beauty. This is going to be in Tomlin's humidor when we meet. You know, I'm going to get a bunch of these. He'll have permanently in his humidor. I understand he's a cigar smoker. He's not a golfer. He doesn't like fishing. Lou B is going to do a lot of our groundwork. And if we have a problem with Tomlin, I like the idea with Lou B with the black SUV. We could pull up to his house. I could get Rob in the SUV to come out and drag him by his freaking earlobes into the black van, and we drive him around a few times. If he doesn't want to go fishing in Peter's boat, first we take him fishing and we try the nice angle. And if he doesn't respond to the nice angle, we'll have to take a little bit of a more direct tact. Hopefully you don't have to get that far, and we'll make friends with him, and he'll be our coach for the next 6 or 7 years. Hey, Frank Reich is being discussed, right, Jake?
Frank Reich is being discussed as the play caller.
Not. How about? Isn't he a good developer of quarterbacks? Didn't he develop Jones? I mean, who did he?
He got credit. He got credit for Carson Wentz at the beginning of his career. He got credit for Nick Foles playing as well as he did when he had the chance during their Super Bowl run. It hasn't been good lately. He's been out of the league for a couple of years. If he was the QB coach or just added to the staff and Angstrand remained, I think it'd be a really good hire if Glenn could get him on the staff. But I don't think it's an upgrade over Tanner Engstrand. I just think that'd be a mistake.
Well, I think his quarterback, look, we need somebody that's going to be a quarterback developer, and that's certainly something of a role that he could take on. Whether or not he's going to be an effective play caller is a different story. But Frank Reich, Boomer Esiason's buddy, weren't they like college roommates or something? Boomer loves that guy.
Yeah, they're close. Again, Frank Reich, maybe it's passed him by a little bit, right? Like that's kind of what it feels like.
Jake, let me tell you something. Everybody's saying that, defense is passé. It's an offensive league. It's this, it's that. Guess what? The top defenses are in the Final Four, not the top offenses in the league, right?
But they also have really good offenses.
I know, but Jake, defense is coming back, man. The running game, the defense.
The running game for these teams is not their strengths. Their passing attacks are strong, and their defenses are good. Denver's got a really good defense. New England's got a really good defense. Same thing with Seattle and LA. But look at the quarterbacks we're talking about here.
Right.
Other than Stidham was a backup because Bo Nix got hurt.
I mean, look, the reality is if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you better have a damn good defense.
Correct.
I mean, look, it's without a doubt in my mind that if Morris Raheem would have went to Davis Mills at halftime, that the Texans would have had a damn good shot to win.
You got the wrong coach, D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans. Yeah. Oh, D'Amico, I'm sorry. Wouldn't you agree, Jake? If he would have went to Mills at halftime, I mean, I would have snapped his head off if I was a Texans fan and he did what he did. We call that an Aaron Glenn, when you stick with the same guy and you say, I got your back. When the guy stinks, he was clearly, to the eyesight, looked like he was seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold in that game. Was he not, Jake?
He should have been benched. I don't know if they would have won if they went to Mills, but he would have gave them a better chance, I believe.
I mean, I didn't realize it, but Mills won a couple of games for them. He was actually very, very competent for them as a backup when Stroud went down, right?
Correct.
So what the hell? I mean, the guy was lost. He was so bad that I'm telling you, the coach for the Texans absolutely blew that game without a doubt. That gets me totally fired up. Any normal coach, certainly Parcells. Think about this, Jake. You have a game like that, and you have a decent backup in your arsenal. Do you think Bill Parcells or Belichick would have went back to that guy in the second half?
I think most coaches would have benched him. I think it was a mistake by D'Amico Ryans.
I mean, a huge mistake. That's a lose your job mistake. Okay.
No, it's not. He's a really good coach.
That was pitiful. Okay?
He's won a playoff game 3 straight years. He's been there. The Texans, I was there when they were the biggest joke in the NFL. Like, he's not getting fired.
I know. That's why I'm saying you know a lot about the team. I just wanted to accentuate the fact that was a big mistake. That was really.
It was. Again, I criticized D'Amico as much as anyone. I thought he should have benched him, but it was a bad move. What they really need to figure out, though, is how was a guy who was so good as a rookie, why is he now regressed the way he now has 2 straight seasons? Like, how do you explain that? This guy will look like he was going to be a top 5 quarterback for years to come. He's not as good in his second year, cost the offensive coordinator his job, Bobby Slowick, who now he's been redeemed by how Stroud's looked because he got a job now as the offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins on their new coaching staff.
No, you mispronounced that, coach. It's Slow Dick.
Where's Peter Castro?
you mispronounced him. Your Texans guys that you used to be on the show with, Jake, in Houston, what was their feeling about that not making the move? Did you talk to them about the game?
I only spoke to one person about it. They all thought that Stroud should have been benched. That
was so obvious, and I couldn't believe it. Even the announcers were saying they were very surprised they didn't go to him, especially when he started the third quarter the way he didn't do one single thing right.
Well, you got to hope that Stidham can't be worse than what Stroud was. Denver's home today. Maybe they could, with a Hall of Fame coach, put together a game plan. Their defense plays great, and they could beat New England today. I don't think it's crazy to think it could happen.
Right. I'm looking forward to Alan's next call. I'm on pins and needles when he speaks to the next reporter about the next thing that's going to happen.
He's got sources all around the league.
He's so connected. Alan is so connected. I'm just surprised that he's not like working with the commissioner of the NFL. That will be his next position. I think he's up for it. Son of a bitch.
I can't believe he got fooled by that.
Can I say one positive thing? Jake, this guy has not said one positive thing about the Jets since you've had him on on your show. Am I right or wrong?
Pretty much. I mean,
I haven't heard him say a positive thing. He's been and now he's rooting for the freaking Patriots. I mean, I want to kill this guy. I swear to
he's not a Jet fan. He's a fraud.
No,
anyone who thinks he's a Jet fan,
absolutely not a Jet fan. When we are finally good and we finally get to doing things, man, Jake, is it going to be sweet? He will never come on if we're good. Didn't he vanish for a while when we started to get good? He kind of disappears when things start to turn the Jets' way. Allen mysteriously gets a job with the NFL. He can't go on the show anymore. Remember, every time something good happens, he makes an excuse not to come on the show anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Because he will not take the bashing.
Yeah, when the Jets won 5 straight in 2022, Allen didn't call him once during that
Thank you. I remember that. Didn't he say he couldn't call in because he got a job at the NFL or some bullshit?
Yeah, I think he ruptured his vagina or something, something like that. I don't know.
Anyhow, good luck getting out. You change your flight to tomorrow. I'm heading back to Florida Wednesday. I got to get the hell out of here. I can't do it anymore over here. It's enough. It's beat me to a pulp. Who do you like today, Jake?
Who do I like today? Well, I'm
Are you
rooting
going
for
to bet
Denver.
the game? Are you
Obviously.
going to bet the games?
Yeah, I bet Denver already when it was 5.5 earlier in the week. And if I bet it, I'll probably take the Rams and hope that I don't win that bet because I'd love to see Sam win.
Yeah. Now, question for you. Denver's defense was ranked number 2 in the NFL. That's what I heard, correct?
Denver's defense?
Yeah, they said it's ranked second. I've heard that.
Denver's defense is right there. I have some of the stats somewhere.
How about who is the Texans number 1? Who was number 1?
Yeah, Texans were the number 1 defense this year.
And where is Seattle in that ranking? I want to know where Seattle is.
Right there.
They got to be top 5, right?
I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, I mean, again, the defenses in all these games are very good.
Right. The Rams defense is really good too. They're the one thing about who was the team that had a lot of takeaways? But the Bears had a really good defense, but they had a really a lot of takeaways, which takeaways are part of your defense, but they don't always compute to a really good defense when you get into a playoff game, because teams that are playing in the playoffs have a tendency not to turn the ball over a lot. I don't trust that. That's going to be the key in a lot of these games. And I trust Stafford more than I trust, Sam as far as turnover is concerned, Jake. I really do trust Stafford. He's clearly up and above the best quarterback left in there. This guy Stidham, I don't know enough about him, but I will say this. The coach is going to make him check down Charlie, but I wouldn't be surprised if Denver comes out throwing the ball like right away, because, Vrabel's going to assume that they're going to try to run the ball, establish the run, and they're going to stack the box and make this guy beat him right out of the gate. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that would be the move, on how to.
But he also hasn't played in a while too. So maybe you have a trick play in there. You take a shot early, but you got to get him comfortable. You got to get him in a rhythm with some completions and kind of put him in a spot where the game's not too quick for him early on. And they gotta make sure they don't turn it over and give New England any extra possessions. They forced a ton of turnovers in these playoffs so far. They've only allowed 2 touchdowns through 2 games defensively. Vrabel is blitzing more than any team in the league. I think Sean Payton's got to have a real blitz protection plan for Stidham, because he hasn't started a regular season game in a year and a half.
And you know what's crazy, Jake? Look, I don't like Sean Payton as a he just annoys me, but the guy is a fantastic coach. I mean, if you're going to have any team that's going to make a change at quarterback that could survive it, it's Sean Payton. He really could make a game plan. He is going to have multiple game plans, and he's going to give Vrabel a lot of trouble in my prediction. And defensively, Drake May, he's got trouble with pressure. If you could pressure Jake May, last week he was not that good, Jake.
Again, that's a big part of it. 100%.
And Stevenson's going to be the key. If they could stop Stevenson, they're going to, what the Patriots are going to do? They're going to do the short little, get the ball out of his hands quickly. They're going to try to establish the run with Stevenson. That's the one drawback Denver has, is they're not great against the run. So if you could establish the run against them, you're going to put them in a bad position. But Vrabel's a really good coach, Jake, but I'm telling you right now, Sean Payton is better than Vrabel.
From your lips to God's ears, that Denver wins, Neil.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
Hit the like button. Comments, questions, super chats. Let's see. Justin with a question from Twitter. Let's say we have a great roster for next year, but we have another horrible record. Glenn gets fired. Does it make the Jets a hot spot for head coaches? I think there's always going to be concerns for any top candidate because of the owner. But I do think if you have multiple first-round picks, which they will have, the cap space, say they add to the team this year, whatever they do at number 2 and some other players, I don't think it's a bad job. And what helps the Jets is you had 10 openings this year, which is a record. It's not going to be 10 next year. Maybe there's 5 or 6. I'd imagine the Jets would be one of the better ones at that point. But I think the key is who's the quarterback, or is there a direct path to getting a quarterback? Like if the Jets have the number 1 pick and there's a great quarterback a year from now, we'll use Arch as the placeholder, but anyone who emerges, right? No one knew Mendoza was going to be the Heisman Trophy winner and the favorite to go number 1 a year ago. Whoever that guy is, if there's a way for the Jets to get that guy, the job becomes more attractive. That's how it goes. So let's hope they can get that guy. More calls right now.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good. Hello, Jake.
Hey, Lane.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about your flight tomorrow. I mean, it's not looking good today, you know?
Not great, Lane. But
Yeah,
I hope it still happens.
Yeah, I know you're flying out tomorrow. Time is your flight tomorrow?
What time is it? It's been changing constantly, so I don't have an exact time.
Yeah, the real reason why I called is, do you make a change? Like, do you see Mike Grable going to the Jets, or do you keep Aaron Glenn, or do you sign somebody else?
I would love to replace Aaron Glenn with Mike Grable, but he's coaching today. I think he's a little busy.
Yeah, so I mean, like the 1969 team that they had, like Frank Reich and stuff. Do you can they draft like Flores, or do you get Michael Carter going into next year? Because they I'm saying it's not looking good if you keep the same team.
So what would be your first move you'd make?
Well, I mean, honestly, you could draft Michael Carter, Flores, or you get Mendoza, or you sign CJ out of college.
Now, who's CJ out of college?
What's his last name? CJ Stroud, I think. Do you get him?
CJ Stroud. Any relation to CJ Stroud who's on the Texans?
Well, yeah, I mean CJ Stroud. Do you get him from the Texans? I meant to say.
I think I'd rather draft Flores.
Why? Do you think that he has a chance, or does he go back to college if Mendoza is available?
I don't think that one has anything to do with the other.
Oh, and so who do you want to win today in today's game?
Denver and Seattle.
Honestly, I think that Seattle's going to come away with 35-34 final score.
High scoring game, Lane.
Yeah, and tonight, I think that the Rams, hopefully they could win, but I'm just not keeping my hopes up that they could win today because tonight rather, because they're playing the Patriots.
Lane, I'll tell you what, you really hit a lot of key points here with the game.
Yeah. And thank you. Yeah, so and I also like what Alan said, his Patriots jersey when he was behind bars.
He should be in prison, right, Lane?
Yeah, and but I liked what he put down, what he was saying about the draft going in to was it 2017? I mean, if they don't have anybody good next year, you could always draft Mendoza in 2027. Hopefully,
what if we go back to 2017 and we draft Patrick Mahomes instead?
I do remember that. Yeah, in 2017. Do you remember they signed him and he was so good, but going to 2027, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea who they'll get. It's like one foot is on the other. Just gonna have to see because the way it's turning out. I mean, I would like to see the Jets winning in 2027, going to the playoffs, but I don't know,
From your lips to God's ears, Lane, all right? Enjoy the games today, okay?
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. I know you have other people.
Anytime, Lane, you're the man.
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
Tremendous from the Lane train. Gary is next. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Jake. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
You got it, Gary.
I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First, about the draft. I was hoping that the Jets would take all defensive players with the just 4 draft picks early. And I would like them to go for guys like Arvell Reese, of course, and 2 linebackers and 2 defensive tackles. Maybe one that could play nose tackle and go with the 3-4 defense. And there's a couple of guys like there's Peter Woods, there's Caleb Banks, and Sonny Styles as well. What do you think about those?
Huge fan of Styles. And then you said you wanted Reese at 2?
Arvell Reese at 2, yeah.
I like Reese. I'm a little worried that there's not a defined position for him. If you tell me he's definitely an edge, okay, I'll listen. It feels like there's maybe a little more of a projection that requires some coaching there. I like Bain. I think he's got a really high floor. People might disagree with this. I want someone with a higher floor than someone with the highest ceiling because I get nervous about the Jets not being able to develop a player to hit their potential, and I don't want to waste the number 2 pick. And the guy I'm really excited to watch in person this week at the Senior Bowl is David Bailey because I think he's going to play himself into the conversation at number 2 as well. So I think it's Reese, Bailey, and Bain at 2. And I just wonder if Styles makes it to 16, Gary. If he's there, I would take him over a defensive tackle.
Okay. Also, I was thinking about the defensive coordinator. I was wondering if the Jets might be interested in Matt Patricia, the former Patriot coach as well. And I was looking to see if he does a 3-4, but I think he does a multiple defenses. And Arvell Reese might be a guy that can move around a lot. He can go up on the edge and then play linebacker as well, off ball. Matt Patricia, I think he's really a good defender. I would draft 3 Ohio State defenders if I could get to him,
Look, the Ohio State defensive players are obviously unbelievable. That's why they're ranked as high as they are. I just don't love the idea of using a top 16 pick, Gary, on a defensive tackle, even though I know that he's highly thought of, and I've seen mocks that have even put him there.
Yeah. Well, either that or they can get a nice edge. David Bailey might be good too in a 3-4 because he's a little bit smaller, and it might help out with Will McDonald as well because he's a little bit on the smaller side.
Yeah, again, I don't think I would.
Yeah.
I don't think I would. I got to see what they do the rest of the offseason as well, because I think that's a big part of this too. Because free agency is before the draft, so it's really tough to project what would make the most sense for the roster when so much of it is going to change from now and then.
Yeah. What do you think about Matt Patricia as a defensive coordinator?
No, thank you. What has he really done when he wasn't with Belichick?
Yeah. Well, it's an idea. I appreciate you taking my call, Jake. You guys have a good day. Have a safe flight out of New York.
Thank you. Have you called before? I don't recognize the name.
Yeah, I called, but it's been like 2 years.
Okay.
Well,
Call again soon.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Jake.
You got it, man. Appreciate you calling in. Good takes. People really like McDonald, right? Caden McDonald is the interior defensive lineman that is highly thought of. Dom C, for what it's worth, has him as his 3rd best interior defensive lineman. He's got Peter Woods, number 1. Caleb Banks, 2. McDonald, 3. I just don't love the idea of taking a defensive tackle at 16. I get it. He might be awesome. And I haven't watched enough of him to say there's no way you could do it, but I just think there's a better use of resources. Especially if you go defense at 2, then we go defense again at 16. Like, can we get some offensive players? Can we draft the receiver? I wouldn't even mind if the Jets moved up a little bit from 16 to get Mekhi Lemon if they don't think he'll make it to 16, which I don't think he will. More of your calls right now.
Hey, Jake, is the flight to Mobile tomorrow out of LaGuardia?
It is out of Newark. It was LaGuardia. That already got canceled.
Wow, you lucked out there. You might have to wear a wetsuit under your clothes if you're gonna fly out of LaGuardia in this weather.
Yeah, Newark it is, and hopefully that still happens.
Yeah, I've only been to Mobile through the airport there. Driving through the rolling hills along the Gulf Coast Highway to Jazz Fest in New Orleans, but it's a different scene, man. You know, maybe if we'll wait long enough, Jim Leonard will only have limited options, and we can just bowl him over with the financial offer and just promise him that, you know, I don't want to do this, but I have the sense that Glenn could be here beyond this coming year if he improves at all. But you know, maybe if he needs a support staff to help him, that's one way they would try and entice Leonard. I don't know. As far as, you know, Reich goes, I agree with what you're saying. Like, senior offensive assistant, quarterback coach, Angstrand really does not deserve what he's getting right now. It's a little upsetting to me. It feels like the failure to move on from Glenn is really snowballing, pun intended, as I look out the window. And like, we're compounding our mistakes and continuing to make them by keeping this guy here. That's and the last thing I wanted to say was about the game today. The people that are disheartened that the Patriots are back in the AFC Championship game, I'm going to tell you, even though they have the quarterback and even though they have the coach, and those two things are very important, I don't think the team as currently constituted is sustainable because they brought in so many older veterans whose best football might be behind them. And if you're going to hang your hat on anything, hang your hat on that. Go Broncos. That's all.
Let's go. I hope you're right, Kyle. It's tough. Again, when Wink Martindale and Frank Reich are here to try and save your job, I wouldn't feel very good about it. Carlos says, I'm all in on Reich and Martindale. What do you think, Jake? I think they're names that are past their prime. I mean, look at the recent history. Again, Frank Reich gets a lot of credit for the Eagles championship run, but he wasn't the play caller. And it wasn't that great in Indy. At Carolina, I mean, that was a couple years ago already. He hasn't been in the league since. Like, what does he know about offensive play calling? Is he that much better than Angstrand? I mean, I love Frank Reich on the staff. Be nice to have someone with experience that could help develop a QB, but this is a guy that's going to dramatically change the Jet offense next year. I mean, I hope. I think I'd rather Reich than Martindale. Again, it just feels like we're banking on coaches who probably have already passed their prime as successful coaches. But that's kind of all that Glenn could do right now. But we were sold that he has all these great connections around the league and he'd hire a great staff. And if you go back and like listen to what he was saying about all these coaches he hired last year and how it panned out, where he fired 7 assistant coaches and is essentially replacing 2 coordinators. So that's what? 9 of your 20-something staff members. That's like 50% of your staff that's being turned over year over year. That's just a lot. All right, last chance to get in the Asmaniac raffle for today. We're raffling away a Jets jersey. Gift a membership to get in. We only have 3 that have been gifted. We've had some super chats that qualified, like Carlos, who just got in for 2 with this one. So thank you, Carlos. Let's get to your last remaining calls here, and then we'll all watch the Denver Broncos hopefully surprise many and win against the New England Patriots.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jake, I thought I was the only one that was a clown-sucking douchebag in this community. I thought I was the only one that was a fraudulent person and fan on this channel. I guess I was wrong.
Strong, Charles, right out of the gate.
No to Matt Nagy. No to Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia was a wannabe coach. I think he's a fake. I mean, as for the whole news of Frank Reich and Wink Martindale potentially being our new coordinators, I mean, I like them, but I definitely do agree. I think this is a desperate move by Aaron Glenn to save his job.
You're not buying that it's going to work, Charles?
I personally saw Wink Martindale reuniting with the Giants under John Harbaugh, but I don't see him as a good fit with the Jets, no.
Probably not.
As for Frank Reich, I mean, I thought he did a decent job in Indianapolis for a while. Obviously, he was one and done with Carolina, but, you know, I mean, as Tanner Engstrand is being demoted as the play caller, I mean, I think that's – I probably would – I mean, I wasn't crazy about him this year, but, you know, in the 2025 season, but I still think he had some potential, but, you know, that's just me.
Now let's talk about, speaking of potential, you. Look at this text I received, everyone, with the caption, quote, "A sexy and clean-shaven face for your pleasure."
As I texted that to Nick Sean, too, was like, what did I do to deserve this?
You texted this to everyone. You texted this about Mike. You texted this to my brother.
I didn't text the Purple Belt, Mike. I texted it to you, your brother, Dano, and Nick Shine.
Oh, PBM didn't make this one? I know he was in the last batch of selfies.
I'll text it to him, too. Don't worry.
Okay,
I knew I forgot someone.
Make sure you text
I shaved later this morning, and I wanted to shave my face, man. I needed to shave my face.
You look like
the last time I shaved in between games.
The chest hair coming out of the shirt.
Oh, you mean my undershirt? My bad.
You're a man's man.
I'm a man's man. Depends on who you ask if I'm a man's man or not. As for who I want to win today, as for the Rams and Seahawks, I respect both Darnold and Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford's going to win, but I would like to see Sam Darnold make his first trip to the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. As for the Rams and Broncos and Patriots, I'm going with the Broncos. I think Sean Payton, while he may be a horse's butt as a person, he's a great coach, and I think he's coming up with a great game plan to stop the Patriots defense.
So you're confident?
I'm confident. I mean, Sean Payton, this is his fourth trip to a conference championship game, his first in the AFC.
He's certainly due for a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can. 2018. Remember that no pass interference call?
Your internet cut out badly there. Yes, I believe he is due for a win.
That's all I want to say, Jake. Hope you have a great day today and good luck on your flight.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Now, I have a question for you before you go. What is on the agenda food-wise today for these games? What's the Charles Gorman spread?
All right, I'm having a chicken melt.
Okay.
I'm having some ginger ale. I ran out of Coke. Not cocaine, but Coca-Cola.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I'm going to have some crackers and cheese, too. You know, I got some Club Cracker snack stacks. And I got some delicious cheese. And so, hopefully it's a good Sunday. Hopefully they're not squash matches. If you guys are pro wrestling fans, you guys know who I'm talking about. Hopefully it's a good game. That's all I care about. And go Seahawks and go Broncos. Screw the Patriots. Sorry, Alan.
Thank you, Charles. And look, you heard Charles Gorman there clarify that he's not using cocaine. It's Coca-Cola. Well, our next guest, well, you never know which substances he might be on.
If Mad Max ain't yapping about jets, that boy, he's jamming, he's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stopped yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman, he got an orange wall.
Honestly, Jake, can you guys hear me?
Nope.
Oh, man. Let's talk about a couple of topics today. So we saw that the Jets replaced 7 assistant coaches. You know, not very good. And then there's reports that Frank Reich is the top candidate for OC, and then Wink Martindale is DC. So for Frank Reich, I think Tanner Engstrand should still be the offensive coordinator. I think Frank Reich can be a very good quarterback coach because he's very good at developing quarterbacks. And for Wink Martindale, I mean he's an okay defensive coordinator. Considering the candidates that he's a good one, even though because of the candidates we interviewed. That just shows Aaron Glenn should be fired. Honestly, I don't know why. No, with 10 coaching candidates, with McDermott on the market and Tomlin on the market, why isn't Aaron Glenn fired? Honestly, he's a terrible head coach. And for the Aaron Glenn bootlickers, if anyone's still a chat defending Aaron Glenn, I have a simple question to ask you guys. What does Aaron Glenn do well? He doesn't do anything well. And honestly, the only reason we could get Frank Reich with Wink Martindale is because Aaron Glenn's not a good coach. I'm sorry to say that. He's not going to stick around this past year. And honestly, Jake, I want to join the 69th team with Neil and Pierre Castro.
You do want to join the 69th team?
I would. I would love to get Mike Tomlin as the next Jets head coach. Honestly, we could probably all the Asmaniacs. We'll do an Asmaniac meetup. We'll get Mike Tomlin there. We could, Mike Tomlin's Christian, right? You know that.
I thought he was Jewish.
No, he's not. I thought. Let me look it up real quick. But
I think he's Jewish. His bar mitzvah theme was football.
Oh man. But we could talk about we could get him tonight to the nicest restaurants. Doesn't he live in New Jersey? Doesn't he live in New Jersey, Mike Tomlin?
I thought he lives in Pittsburgh.
I remember, does he have a house in New Jersey?
He might.
I mean, I heard he lives in Long Island, but Neil can get him down. If he's in Long Island, we get it, and Neil finds Mike Tomlin. We got to get an Asmaniac meetup. We're gonna get all the amazing stories. We're gonna chauffeur Mike Tomlin for introduce him to the amazing Asmaniac community, and maybe the Asmaniac team will get him as the next head coach of the Jets, because the 33rd team did a horrible job getting a head coach.
And then you make some interesting points, Mad Max.
And then for the AFC Championship game, I want the Broncos to win. And then for the NFC Championship game, I want the Seahawks to win, because I was a big Sam Darnold fan when he was on the Jets. Call me a Sam Darnold truther. I always thought Sam Darnold was a good quarterback. I mean, I just think Adam Gase is a terrible head coach.
Yeah, your dad kind of ruined him, though.
I know. Adam Gase is the worst Jets coach I've ever seen, honestly. He's the worst Jets
Why
coach.
are you referring to your dad by his first and last name? You don't just call him Dad?
He's not my dad, Adam Gase. He's terrible.
No, come on. Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
No, he is. Come on.
Honestly, Jake.
Honestly, he's your dad.
Honestly, go
Gase
Jets.
is your father.
Go Jets. Jets.
He's your father, Mad Max. I'm telling you. He's your father. Gase is a great coach. Jet fans are dope.
And Jet fans are clueless. I mean, they're dopes. They don't know anything. This is a really good hire. Gase is a great coach. Okay, Adam Gase is Kyle Shanahan before Kyle Shanahan. Gase is a great coach.
Tremendous coach. One of the best. Super chat from Jets Worldwide. We haven't even played a damn game in 26. The negativity's off the charts. Don't let go of the rope, Jet fans. Ladies and gentlemen, wise words from Snowball, who loves the snow. That's why they call him Snowball. He's been rolling around all day in the snow. And he says, don't let go of the rope.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Well said. Well said. Gypsy Moonchild gifted 5 channel memberships. Let's go. Appreciate you, Gypsy Moonchild. Black Gypsy was in the raffle earlier for 1, which is outstanding. So there's that. I am currently counting the raffle names. We're going to raffle away a Jets jersey shortly here. So if you want in on this version of the Asmaniac raffle, this is truly last call. We have a gifted membership from Sean Horton. Thank you, Sean. I got you down for 1 with this. Last chance again to get in. We got the games coming up. I see Mikey on the line, Mikey Midnight, but I can already see it's not going to work because his screen is black. So I don't want to play the intro just to let people down. So I'll go to him quickly to see if there's any hope. Mikey, are you there? Mikey. Well, there's our answer, unfortunately. Would have loved the Mikey call on Championship Sunday. Get his breakdown of the games. That'd be something. That would be something. All right, before we get to the raffle, we haven't heard from this man during the show. It's Championship Sunday. He's also the master of raffle ceremony. Let's do a little 2-for-1 with the beast.
Okay, great.
What's wrong, Beast?
Shoulder. After you know how, let me tell you this: in the year, you'll feel it in the years to come when you get tightness like this. I'll tell you, certain wrestlers like Ron Simmons and many other wrestlers, they know what this crap feels like. I'll tell you, it starts from your clavicle up here, going down into your muscle, and then right down to your spine, giving you a big. It's like being smoked on a ventilator on speed dial. Not a good sign. No Wink. We don't need him. He's too old, outdated. Frank Reich. Frank Reich. Are you kidding me? That guy's a joke. Come on, man. Bills guy? No, thank you. No thanks. I want guys with an attitude. I'm like, let's find some guys that are at least decent, that can at least hang in our league. I don't want some useless, spineless pieces of human grade A cockroaches. I want men with balls of steel. I'm like, I'll give you the example. Let's look at Rex Ryan. Has anyone touched Rex yet in the last few years? No. Does anybody care? No. It's time to start getting some balls back into our team and start, dishing out the discipline that we used to have back in the day. This one needs to be reinstalled. We need to bring attitude back to the format. We need to bring some teamwork back into that locker room and communication. That's what this team is lacking. Communication.
Now, let me ask you this. That shoulder injury of yours, are you going to be recovered in time for the Asmaniac road trip to Chicago next year, Beast, or this is a long-term injury?
It'll take time. I got plenty. I got that ice gel stuff. I can put it on my back of my arm and then I have the ice packs. I can put those on there and just lay back for at least 30 minutes. Let that sink in and don't move. It's going to suck for a while, but it's the best part. Ice will help it. It will take down some of the swelling and some part of the pain. But I got a new name instead of those Patriots. How about we just call them the Shit-Riots? Shit-Riots. That's a perfect new name for them. There's no way.
Speaking of shit,
I got gas right now.
Appreciate you, Beast. We'll come back to you for the raffle. But first, let me shout out Delray Doc, who entered the raffle for one. Thank you, Delray Doc. Also, James had a super chat. He meant to attach this comment to it. It's a great show, Jake. Well, James, thanks for watching. Appreciate everyone out there tuned in. Hope your snow days are going well if you're in many areas of the country that's been hit with this winter storm. Cactus Johnny with a super chat. There's obviously a long list of Jet first-round picks to win a Super Bowl elsewhere, but would Seattle's be the first with number 2 in Sam and Leo? What a disgrace. Well, did Johnny Lamb Jones and Blair Thomas win Super Bowls? Do you mean second picks in the draft, Cactus, or you mean just 2 former Jets on the same team winning a Super Bowl together? That I don't know the answer to. Obviously, there's been many Jets who have won Super Bowls elsewhere. If you're talking number 2 picks, I don't think Johnny Lamb Jones and Blair Thomas won championships elsewhere. Obviously, Zach Wilson hasn't. Sam was the number 3 pick, so I'm guessing you mean just 2 on the same team. Again, if Sam wins later, the narrative will be to use it to dunk on the Jets. I think it's so disingenuous when people do that. He was in Carolina and was bad there. And then he went to San Fran, got rehabilitated by Shanahan, then got rehabilitated by Kevin O'Connell, and was excellent. But he left the Jets and then went to how many different teams? It can't be about the Jets. Cactus Johnny says 2 first-round picks on the same Super Bowl winning team. I don't know if that's ever happened before in Jet history. We'd have to look into that. It's a great point by you. Leonard Williams, by the way, the Giants should get more criticism for that one. Joe Shane let that guy walk. And he's had a really good career, Leonard Williams. Great question by Jay Quest. If somehow Zach Wilson was starting today for Denver, what would everyone's rooting interest be? I'd be torn. I think I'd still root for Denver, but it would be tough because if Zach Wilson quarterbacked the team to a Super Bowl, that'd be tough to get up from. Now, I still think he's terrible, but I hate New England more. That's a really tough question, Jay Quest. I'm curious what the chat thinks about that. All right. We are essentially ready for the Wheel of Champions. We'll spin the wheel. Someone will win a Jets jersey of their choosing. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring on our master of raffle ceremony.
You tell me how crazy I am. I just took 4 chair headshots. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Now it is time to spin the Jake Asman 2026 Wheel of Champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Here we go. Our final raffle before we head to Mobile for this Senior Bowl this week. Good luck to everyone. Again, thanks to everyone who supports the show. We couldn't do it without you. You guys make it possible to talk about this team year-round. So thanks to everyone who tunes in each and every day. You guys are the best listeners, and it truly means a lot that you still tune into the show, despite how bad it's been for the team we all love. Here we go. If you win, please email me your name and address, the size you want the jersey in, and most importantly, the player. Namath, Klecko, Martin, Krebet, Revis, Mangold, or Keyshawn. Those are the choices. The winner of the winner of the Jets jersey is Joey Kilmartin. Let's go, Joey.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Joey, really appreciate it. You are the winner. Congratulations. AsmanJake@gmail.com. Email me. Boom. Big thanks to everyone who tuned in. Enjoy the games today. If you're betting on it, get the best odds over at FanDuel. If you want a March for Art shirt or a Tank for Art shirt, also in tank top form, we are restocked at jakeasman.com/shop, which started off as a funny bit on the show. It's become a popular t-shirt. So big thanks to the Asmaniacs for their support with that. I'll leave you guys with a clip that will take you down memory lane, perhaps. And I'll talk to you guys from Mobile this week, maybe from the airport tomorrow if I'm snowed in. Who knows? Who knows what the Jets will do? We've done airport shows in the past. On that note, JETS, 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 Jets. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you soon. We head out to the Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline, and we bring on the Lane Train.
Hi. I feel the same way about the Jets. They play the hardest, but I have a question. I saw the play, and you know what happened? He blocked it. I also have to say, how do you feel about Elijah Morris? Do you think they should keep him next year, or do you build it up for who to have for next year? I feel upset about the game tonight. I know they tried hard. I watched it. There's nothing really you could do. But, yeah, I'm just sitting in my room thinking why they did not win. And I heard the last caller, she was upset also. There was, like, drinking. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Happy New Year, Lane.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.